Feels like an eternity sitting here watching.
I know.
There we go. 8 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do you have something you'd like for public discussion?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. Because I mostly just came to listen today.
Okay.
But the one thing that come to my mind is about 5 years, somewhere in that neighborhood, I asked for the railroad crossing to be fixed on, or P64. It's never been fixed. And it seems to me, if you don't get success at the engineer level for the railroad, you go to the top of the heap. Send a nicely worded letter to the CEO and tell them about the public, how the public feels. You know, it's not a good, what's the word I want to use? It's not a good image that people have to use a hard surface crossing that blows out tires, that breaks axles. It seems to me that something should have been done in this last period of time. And I say that because I think we were still talking windmills at the time when I first brought this up, and nothing's been done. So I think that's where I would start is, let's go above the engineering level. Let's see if we can't get Wesley taken care of on that, our P64 crossing. I don't know how many of you go across it. Have you gone across that?
Yeah, I just went across it last week.
You know, more people from Wesley are avoiding it now, simply for that reason. And it's getting worse every season. It gets worse. So I think it needs to be taken care of promptly.
Well, we don't do those crossings. That's.
I understand that, but it's your county road, and you should have some input that says, we want this improved.
I think
You look at every other crossing in the county,
Doug has talked to him.
but at the engineer level, I think we gotta go up to the food chain if we're gonna get that crossing fixed.
Railroad crossing on P64.
You know, my old issue.
Which one again?
P64, type road,
And old 18.
and old 18.
Oh,
Crossed all 18.
okay. Yeah, that is a difficult situation where they were gonna fix it and we got it in, we applied for funding for it. The railroad has to approve it.
Well, I was just telling you, you need to go to the higher up the food chain,
Who's that?
CEO of
CEO?
the railroad. Send a letter.
Oh,
Set
we've got
public
the,
image.
we've got the letters. I don't know if I can get a hold of the CEO, to be honest with you. I tried to call him.
Well, there's a image that I think you can play with.
What's the image? I sat, I'll be honest with you, out at Hobarton, same rail line. We had an agreement with the railroad and the cooperative. There's 2 crossings there. We had an agreement, the railroad and the elevator were gonna fix our crossings. And we're supposed to do it all at the same time. The elevator crossing got fixed. The railroad didn't. When I met with the railroad out there, everybody was driving by on their cars, and the gentleman from the railroad said there was nothing wrong with it. Because the railroad, nothing didn't affect the railroad at all. I said I hadn't seen a train go by while we were standing there. And he didn't know what to say. I'm sorry, we're trying.
Well,
But it's not as simple, the answer is not as simple as what you're saying.
Well,
The problem is there, and
public perception, you know, you go really hard on them, that I've seen blown tires, I've seen flat tires, I've seen broken axles.
Have you called, there's a placard on this side of the
It doesn't
rail?
do any good to call a placard, you know that, and I know that.
Have you called
I
it?
have.
Okay, cause they do monitor that.
Just
We'll try again. It's as frustrating, that if you go over,
Well, I don't understand how one, to me, major crossing for the east part of the county can't be
well,
properly
you go
handled.
over to P30 on that same rail line and you'll see rail crossing that's not in very good shape also. Same rail line. Again, it is frustrating. So we will go back and review things and try to get another letter off. But we've written, we've called the DOT, the rail, Officer Rail. They're well aware of it. Unfortunately, the rail lines are not real cooperative. So.
Can't say too
Doug,
much.
do you guys keep a list of all the crossings we've called in or sent letters about
Yeah, we got a database.
per rail line and all that? Or,
Yeah, we only have 2 rail lines.
okay,
And, I mean, we don't, Union Pacific and Canadian Pacific.
okay,
And, but we have every crossing applications that we've applied for.
could you send that to us sometime so we can?
Well, it's
look at that list, or-
It's multiple, every crossing has a sheet that we keep our diary on.
Okay,
And, to send everything to you.
no, I didn't know if you had like an Excel sheet that lists them all out and.
Every
dates contacted.
crossing has an Excel sheet.
Okay,
I mean, every crossing in Kossuth County is identified with a unique number, federal. And
I didn't know if you had a master list that showed X
nothing,
number of crossings or.
we have a
whatever.
master list that shows the crossings, but we don't, each crossing then has its own data set. We got crossings right now that I'm starting to visit about that, Union Pacific on gravel roads put in, and they put asphalt approaches on them. Well, now the crossing itself is settling. So now when you go over it, the asphalt approach is higher than the tracks. And it used to be that gravel road maintainers would be able to just maintain that. Now there's a permanent, it was not constructed very well to begin with. There's a permanent piece of asphalt out there. That's a Union Pacific from down around Laverne all the way up to Big Six Elevator. Every crossing in between there on the gravel road. So,
Okay,
what was your name again?
Chris Nygaard.
Chris Doug Miller.
Yeah.
But that one, we've been talking to the board, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, they had material out there
Yep.
to replace it. We
And
thought we were gonna
again
get,
about 5 years ago.
and all of a sudden the material
I know,
disappears.
I don't understand it.
And,
I just think there has to be some way to get some action. I understand your frustration.
we're as frustrated as you. I can get to a hold of somebody in Illinois, but they aren't the people that even, I mean, they're accountants that are talking about, their business.
Yeah.
okay. Well, let's see what we can get done on that, but if you don't have anything further, we could move on with our agenda, or,
That's fine.
okay, I'd entertain a motion for the agenda and minutes.
So moved.
Okay, motion. Okay, Any discussion on either of those? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Alright, monthly update from secondary road foreman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I was just talking with Brian about that crossing up there, and, there's a cross pipe that we thought a utility
The
probably.
utility has gone through it.
But that, it is draining now, it did sound like, so.
Yeah, it's been opened up by somebody up there and it's now draining across. It's gonna take a while because it's not going overly fast, but it is coming across the road. And we're planning on replacing it once it's dried up enough to
So
go.
telephone company went through it?
It's an orange gum tape, so fiber.
Communication.
Yeah.
Which crossing is that, or?
It'd be in Lynn.
North line 11 of Lincoln.
440th Street, 13.
2 miles north of Buffalo going west, couple miles.
Okay,
Is it washing the road out?
No, just where they broke the culvert part over there on the end of it, just in the shoulder part. The road's not washed out. You can see where the road water had gone over the road. It's a little rough there, but you can't do anything to it until it dries up a little bit.
A farmer called me and said the road was washed out.
There's some water sitting on about a third of the road there yet.
Is
And
it, okay.
it should be in the next couple of days, being going down where we do something, start with it.
We're gonna put some signs right there at that location. Brian's gonna do that today.
okay.
As long as he's there, if you just go see Mrs. Sapp and straighten it.
No, thank you.
Any other updates for us? You guys got?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys.
thanks.
Morning, Roger. Morning.
KRHC, they're not coming.
No, they have their own, events going on at the hospital this morning, so they're not able to be here, but they did submit their reports on here.
Yep, it's all done.
Alright. Roger, are you here for law enforcement?
Yep, I'm signing them right now if you wanna start on yours, but we got all the city contracts that are for fiscal year 24-25.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay, any discussion on this?
These are all just contracts that were already approved by the city.
Yep, their, previous sheriff had set them up years ago. These are the ones that are 2,000 each, 2080 agreements. And, I recommended that we don't raise them because I can't provide them any more service than we're doing right now. We aren't required to provide patrol hours, we just respond to calls. And even though I think that every community in Kossuth County is involved in it except Bancroft, because they still have a police chief. So if they ever would terminate that, then we'd add them to the list too, and we still respond to calls in Bancroft. As a matter of fact, we just did one yesterday where we sent it out, so. I'll just keep signing them here unless you got any questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the city law enforcement contracts.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Unanimous.
You want Todd to come up for the dog ordinance? He's gonna write it.
Yeah, probably would be good if he was able to come up.
I think it'd be a good idea. Because he's gonna get,
I think he's 141.
Where did my
I think he's 141. Try 141.
I think you're right.
Eh, Okay.
I don't have all of them memorized, but
Well, his hasn't changed in the 25 years I've been here, so I can still remember that one.
There's the rest of them.
Right.
You didn't answer.
Might not be there. Do you wanna run down and see if he's here?
Do you want me to go, Carter? I can go check and see if he's down there.
Either way.
No, I need the steps anyway.
Okay.
But I can-
Did you guys have any other, while I'm signing here, did you guys have any other thoughts on dog ordinance, or do we just need to get something put into
Roger
form?
talked once about that it should apply to all livestock.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of keep it broad enough that we can enforce it if it's cattle on the road, excessive amount of time. That
Yeah.
has been alleviated quite a bit since the one north of Lone Rock was taken care of, but we still get cattle on the road, sheep on the road. The other day we had pigs on the road, occasional donkey on the road. But it's mainly so that these unincorporated areas, you know, whether it's St. Joe, St. Benedict, Irvington, Lots Creek area, we keep getting these dog complaints running at large and they're on other people's property. One in Lots Creek, there's a nice church and cemetery there, and it's just got a complaint a couple weeks ago, somebody's out visiting a grave, the dog came over and was aggressive toward them and barking at them, that kind of stuff, so. Just need something out in the county that we can, after a couple warnings, we can start issuing citations.
He's not in his office yet. Do you want me to call him on his cell phone?
Otherwise, we could do it later, we could push it to later in our agenda too. I mean, I don't know if we have anything real critical for him, but
He doesn't have one drafted yet, does he?
No, that's what
You're just gonna give him direction on how to draft it, okay?
yeah,
you gave us a couple of samples.
Yeah, I think I gave you one from Hancock County, it was kind
Yeah.
of, they include all livestock and
Right.
domestic animals and,
I think we can just
yeah.
Go
just
off of that
something-
one and-
Yep,
supplement.
and that's what the sheriff over there told me, the reason he likes it that way is that if they do have somebody that's not fixing their fence,
Right.
constantly letting their cattle out, then you can cite them with that too. Do you need copies of these?
I don't remember either.
I can't either.
Just,
I'll have Bailey make one email to you.
Yeah, if I need them, tell her I'll contact her.
Okay, I couldn't hear if you had
I
copies.
can't remember either, so.
And I think that would be suffice, wouldn't it, just copy handcuffs and.
You might have to change some of the wording here and there, but, I think so, just because it's broad enough that if it's not just restricted to dogs, you know, if someone is, like I said, not fixing their fence and the livestock is getting out all the time. I mean, there's state statutes you can look at, but with the county ordinance, at least you can understand
just for
that.
this one.
Especially with
Do you
dogs.
want it, that if
Yeah,
they're not
just
taking
probably
care
gonna
of
stick
their
there for
livestock?
who knows why.
Well, there's state statutes for that, if there are animal neglect and animal
Right.
abuse and things like that, it's more that they just running at large and you warn them and talk to them, but there's no There's no real state one to write for that, and there's no county ordinance for it.
Okay,
If it's in the city limits, then we follow the city codes.
right.
But if it's out in the county, rural areas, then it's just something that we can, I think that's all it would take, is maybe issuing a couple citations, and they take it more seriously about keeping their dogs on their own property. Stray dogs we get all the time, we get calls about it, but we can't prove who the owner is, but some of them we can prove who the owner is, and they just don't worry about keeping their dog contained to their own property. So, it's whatever you guys get worked out. Anything else for me on this?
I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Roger. You want to call Doug? Do we want to try and get Todd later?
Yeah, Doug, we're up to Gold Eagle.
We'll get started on that ordinance.
Oh. Nope, that's fine. Alright, thanks. Said the guy from Gold Eagle is gonna be here closer to 9. So.
Okay, oh,
He said we'll take care of other stuff.
is he coming up?
Yeah, he's coming
Okay.
up, but we'll take care of this first, and if he shows up, then we'll do it then.
Okay,
March come in and do drainage there?
Well, if he's coming up, we
He's
can do
coming up.
construction on the road right away.
yeah, and just general discussion.
I don't know if he has any construction on the road right away.
There's one for,
Yeah,
over at,
there's,
by
there's
you,
right
Mark
south of
Seaver.
your house.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's just south end.
mhm.
For. It's right there, underground electric.
Barely in our county, isn't it?
Well, not far. from the edge. If you wanna tell Marge, she could probably be ready, I bet we won't have a whole lot to do here. Has everyone seen all the requests in our packet and stuff?
That's just the one. Right.
No, the drainage requests,
Oh, yeah.
6 of them.
I think I only got one, just from Rob.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6. Kyle, or Carter has 1, you have 3,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I knew I-
Roger has 2.
While you're sitting there, I like your new digs better than the old room.
There's a lot more space for
There is
people.
more
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
We just wish we could get rid of that.
Pole wasn't there to
Pole,
be
yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
I don't think there's much you can do
Nope.
with that.
That's what I've been told.
Well, unless you wanna stand here and hold the 3rd floor up.
No, not me.
Do we need the 3rd floor?
Yeah, we probably do. Cause if we don't,
Some
it'll
people
come down.
would
to that.
agree we didn't.
Some people might.
No, I've seen them wrap stuff around and paint it like it's not there, so maybe you could do that.
I don't
We
know,
could
the
just
color,
see through it.
color kinda blends in with
Yeah.
the rest, pretty good.
Just about every other county I go to, the boardroom's in the basement, tucked away in the corner, in a small little area.
Well, Winnebago's is probably the size of that side of the pole to the corner.
Yeah, that's the way most of them are. Palo Alto, yeah, they're all little.
Yeah. Alright, Doug, you wanna go?
Oh, I forgot. I gotta get one more piece of paper, excuse me.
Okay. Maybe if you call that placard on the railroad crossing every day for a while, they'll.
I don't think that'll make any difference. I still think you gotta somehow get the public image, you know.
You know, it's,
There's other crossings in the county that are bad too, though, that's the problem. We did finally get,
There's abandoned ones that are terrible.
well, we finally got the ones taken care of
A
kinda
couple of
north
them,
of Highway
yeah.
9. We
Yeah.
got 4 of them paved over because they're not using it anymore, but we had to do all that, I don't know.
We had some that were,
Well, come on in,
That
Marge,
line
we'll
up
do
on along
reports.
Highway 9 is not used anymore.
Yeah, there's
Good morning.
4 of them up there. We can do repair requests here real quick.
I Doug's back.
Wow, this shouldn't be that long. Has everyone looked at them in your folders and stuff? Okay. Marge can pass them out, but I'd entertain a motion to direct the supervisors to do their requests.
So moved. I'll second.
Any discussion?
We got another one on pack one. We'll wait with that Marge until we get the engineer's report. So that's surface drain.
Yeah,
this is Rod's from last week.
Yeah. So you wanna put that on hold with the other repairs or,
Well,
or the location?
this isn't,
that's not pack
this isn't
one.
pack one.
Oh.
Roger's talking about his.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I did call Dwayne Birdie with the state,
What he,
and he said, his words to me was that's above my pay scale. So he was gonna have someone else get back to me and I haven't heard back yet.
okay,
okay.
I got one on pack one, it's number 37, it's by Lots Creek, surface drain is washed out, needs repair, it's on pack one. Send it to the engineering firm, I would assume,
Okay,
that's all right with the rest of the board.
yeah,
And I have another one, it's Lots Creek, it's Jan Morgan, it's on 83, plat 44C. Possible plugged or broken tile. She's been in contact with Doug too about tile broken under the road ditch. I think Thompson there has went there and started trying to get it out. I was gonna get a hold of Thompson and he didn't answer the phone yet, so I don't know where the plug was or if he's got it opened up.
okay.
But it's being taken care of one way or another.
okay. And yours was what we talked about last week.
Yeah, just Rod, when he came to the board room last week,
Yep,
long 18 there.
yeah. I had one Lincoln 19, possible washout, broken tile in Ramsey 3, and then another broken tile in Hebron 22. So,
The motion already made.
yep, that motion, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimous. Thanks, Marge. Got that out of the way.
Anything else, Marge? You wanna
No.
put it on the agenda, Kyle?
For-
Talk about,
Closed session.
yeah, closed session for
We need to get a,
drain 80.
yeah, we need to get a closed session for Drain 80 set up with Goodwin. As soon as he can.
You talked to him about that or talked to him about that?
I can.
And I think we're all aware of it, we did get a decision on the one, that went to the Supreme Court.
Did you ever let Weber know what it's gonna cost him?
That report will be coming to the board probably next week.
Okay,
So then we'll acknowledge that and everything, and then he can be informed. So, he hasn't yet, but I know Tyler's close on that.
did you?
Yep. Yep,
And he's got the right acres now?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, and, another thing quick for drainage on drain 90, another railroad issue. We've got a lot of water standing up there, and I was up there on Thursday. It's very clearly blowing out of the intake that's closer to the railroad tracks inside the two that are new. And at that time, it was surface draining all the way down to the next gravel road south of there, and I could see the intake there. It was taking water, but there was more that was still surface draining to the next gravel road that comes out the south side of town, and it was sucking in that intake. So there's very clearly issues through the railroad right away.
That's what I've been having conversations
And-
with some people, and they tell me it's plugged under the railroad.
Yeah, I mean, well, the water's getting to the railroad, it's
Correct.
just not getting through the railroad. And Spencer had sent another email here probably a week or so ago. He was gonna send another one. Talked to him yesterday. I don't know if he sent one yesterday, but I'm probably gonna follow up with that too, because
They kinda want it jetted underneath the railroad tracks again.
problem is, I don't know how we're gonna get out there with the jetter truck as wet as it is.
I know, but that's what they want,
Well, I get that, but yeah,
because it's plugged by the railroad again.
well, it's definitely restricted there, yeah.
At some point, you know, we're gonna have to do something here.
Yeah, we will. But it's an ocean right now, so
Yeah. But it's not gonna get better is the problem.
no, hoping we can get the tile replaced through there.
Well, but before we get it replaced, it's still gonna have to drain, or they ain't even gonna be able to do any work there.
Yeah,
There's a double-edged sword there.
yeah, definitely is, so. Alright, anything else from Marge? Okay, thank you. Alright, Doug? We can go back to construction and right away.
Yes, we got one request for construction of the right of way. It's from Midland Power Cooperative. They are doing some work on some underground, maintenance work, replacing, underground, to an acreage between sections 13 and 24 Wesley Township, going under 250th Street. And I would recommend that the board would approve of this.
Okay, a motion, is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous.
Who made the motion?
Carter.
Carter.
Thank you. Sign, please.
There we go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, discussion, The road vacation, we've got a public hearing scheduled for May 28th at 8:05. There are notices that are gonna be put in the paper tomorrow with Bancroft and Sway City, and Thursday with the Algona paper. And we will be sending out notices to the adjacent landowner, mail them out tomorrow. Construction, the bridge on P64, west line of 33 Buffalo, south of Tyke. They're to be pouring caps on the north pier and the north abutment today, and then they'll be getting ready for a deck pour formed up for the deck. Down by George Gunter's, we got some dirt work to do there with some of the rain. It's been delaying us a little bit, but as soon as we get that dirt work completed, we'll have guardrail installation, and then that bridge will be open. And the bridge on the Bold Hobart Road is being constructed, and they're removing the existing structure there. Up on H16, they got their cold in place recycling, that's been completed. And Matthew is looking to move in towards the end of May for that resurfacing. Crack filling, they've been able to get some work done on that. They're south of Algona right now. And they'll be moving to B30, which is right on the north end of Smith Lake, running from Highway 169 to Highway 15 with that. And then crack filling will be done for this year. I did receive last week, I received some information that Corn Country Power, they are looking to move the power line to the east of Bancroft. We have talked about possibly grading a half-mile of road in there. We were negotiating with the landowner, could never come to terms. If we were gonna get right away there, we were gonna have to pay for moving poles. We chose to try to just get the road on with one landowner. The representative from Corn Belt told me that if we would have right of way, we could have them move the poles and it would not cost us anything. We've kind of given up on the project. My question is to the board, do you want me to start talking to landowners about that project again?
Yeah,
Personally, I think it's a great idea to get a half-mile road in there, because you get rid of the feed trucks going through town all the time.
yeah,
I think it's worth it.
yeah, that is. And if we got the opportunity to get it done with moving the poles, that's perfect timing.
That was gonna be awful expensive to move those poles.
Yeah,
So I think it's the time to do it. I don't know if you're gonna get landowners to agree with you.
Well, we'll have to see. All I can do is ask,
Right.
but it does give us another opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say that's an opportunity we don't wanna pass up.
no,
Okay, I will start pursuing that, and I'll let the Corn Belt know that as well, so.
how big
Morning.
an easement would you need to?
Well, still need to get, I think what I was trying to do is get a,
90?
right around 100 feet total. If I remember right, I'll have to look in my notes. But, have to talk with the two landowners and see what their interest is and see if, we can make any agreement on anything.
Is that all permanent right away for 100 feet or temporary for construction and stuff?
No, that would be permanent,
Permanent.
but because you're gonna
I
make
didn't-
a ditch.
Yeah, but aren't our gravel road right of ways typically 66 feet?
No.
That's what they were constructed as like 80 years ago when we had smaller tractors and smaller loads. Today's, I mean, our 66-foot road system was never constructed for what it's seen in traffic. And I would never recommend that if we're gonna construct a road to construct it within 66 foot right of way. We need to have better forest slopes, we need to have larger road tops. The road that it's even gonna meet up with, the gravel road, I think is 120 feet to the north, and it's 120 feet on the pavement to the south.
You can't.
The gravel road to the north has 120-foot right away.
I believe that got graded a few years
The
ago.
one going out of Bancroft?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wide road.
that's a wide gravel road. Got additional gravel, or additional road right away.
Okay.
Well, there's some that were 90 feet, some that were 100.
You got some that are 3 rods on each
Yeah.
side of section line, you got some that are 45, you got 50, 60,
Yeah.
a variety, and then you have 33.
Well, it's not even legal to build one with a 1-to-1 slope anymore, is it?
It's not safe for the traveling public.
But
That's
So-
not a recoverable forest slope. So,
How wide of a road top would that be with 100-foot right away?
I'd have to look at my notes, but you'd have 26 foot and 2-to-1, 3-to-1 slopes, 2-to-1 back slopes.
Yeah.
Try to maintain a ditch bottom.
With a 100-foot, you only end up with a 22-foot top.
Oh,
No, you can do it in 100 foot.
I don't know if our maps are not accurate, but I guess it shows on here that we have 66-foot right away. I didn't,
On what?
on that gravel road out of Bancroft.
Oh, that isn't right, 'cause that was graded in.
The north-south or the east-west?
Both.
Okay. I could be wrong. I thought it was wider.
It's wider.
Okay, east-west after it goes east out of town, or comes around the curve after it goes east the long way. That shows 90,
90 feet.
99.
probably 99, 98.4.
49 and a half feet on each side, 3
Yeah.
rods.
Where the bridge is
Yeah, so-
wide.
So it'd be wider on the north side, so would we widen that out going north and south to connect if we do
I'd
the,
have to review it, Kyle. Right now, we gotta buy road right away, and that's gonna take a little bit.
I'm just thinking if we're making it consistent to get all the way through there. Yeah, that is wider on that east-west one.
Bless you.
Thank you. We still have open positions that I'm looking for. I am putting some requests for quotes out for some equipment at the end of this week and asking them to be returned. I think it's June 4th, June 3rd, excuse me, so that they can be reviewed and hopefully the board will accept those quotes.
We won't have a meeting the 4th, correct, or will we?
Just a short
Will we?
meeting on the
Okay.
4th, probably, yeah.
And I did have another inquiry on solar. This is what they call this community solar system, 3 to 5 megawatts, using 10 to 30 acres. They were asking questions. I answered that they asked if there was any solar ordinance being drafted, if there's any way to get permitted. I said that there has been discussion about solar ordinance with both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. And I said that if we were going to permit it at this time, we'd have to use a conditional use permit or a special use permit. Whether they're just asking those questions or whether they actually have it was a developer that asked them. So.
Well, I guess, Todd, we don't formally have you on this, but is this something we should do a moratorium while we're talking about putting an ordinance together for temporary?
Possibly.
I think we did that during the wind turbine ordinance discussions.
That was some time ago, but yeah, I mean, that might be something to consider.
Okay. Would that be something you would be able to do?
Yeah, I'd have to do some research on it. I've seen it on the agenda, but I've never participated in that.
Okay,
Is one question I would, if I were developing a project, is the moratorium for the purpose, is there a ordinance being developed? Is that what the moratorium is for? So when is the ordinance gonna be available for me as a developer? Or are you just putting a moratorium on to say we're not gonna have solar?
no, I think that would, I know they can't be indefinite, it's, isn't it typically a defined period of time, like a year, whatever, to go through
Yeah,
that
I don't know what we
process?
did on with the wind generators, but I think it has to be, yeah, a finite period of.
Yeah, I thought we did a year, if I remember correctly, I don't know, you guys
I remember
remember?
something about that, but of course I wasn't on the board. I remember sitting in on those discussions, yeah.
We had a time frame that was specific to the moratorium, but don't quote me, but I don't think it was a year, I think it was a certain number of days.
I think it was, or months, I actually think it was probably 6 months, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
It
they're,
might have been 6 months,
But the ordinance was in development,
right.
yeah.
and I don't know where you guys are on the ordinance for.
We've had conversations about it, but I don't know that we've had any
beyond the
attorney
discussion point.
conversations, so.
Probably ought to have an ordinance in discussion before you put a moratorium on. I would suggest.
Well, we've talked about multiple different options and other county ordinances to build off of as models, we just haven't had anyone put that together in a format for us, I guess. I don't know that we're that far off.
Related topic, we got Merlin Bart's, with some energy,
Invenergy,
Invenergy, or however you say that. He,
Okay.
has reached out again and said, is Kossuth County 100% done with windmills, or are they willing to open up the ordinance for more?
Yes. 100%
Plus, they haven't turned out to be very good for our taxing, you know, so why would we wanna go there again? They were successful in getting it reduced down next to nothing. So
actually, that's something the taxation side of it, I'll probably have something on our agenda for next week about that.
Talking about taxation, you know, we should have had $3 million come in last year, and we ended up with 680 or 90,000 instead, which is, I think the state did that to us when they allowed the rollback
Commercial rollback.
on commercials, and they really helped it on the wind energy. So I think we ought to be talking to our state legislators more than what we're doing, because they really just put the prongs to the county on that one. That was ridiculous. And our state legislators sure didn't take our county into consideration at all on taxing. It's atrocious.
Well,
So that would be the answer, Merlin?
I mean,
But you might answer.
we could talk about it,
Do you want to put it on the agenda and talk about it?
probably should for actual discussion,
I think you ought to have a definite, instead of just
yeah.
definite answer for them.
Yeah, this isn't really the time to discuss
I
it
think
with
you
it.
could tie it right to the taxation issue in the discussion. That
Yeah.
would be
Yeah, I mean, we could
the
talk about
appropriate
it with
time to
that,
talk about it.
yep.
We'll
Okay,
run it on next week.
yeah, I'll talk to you on the other stuff I'll have.
Okay.
Would you be able to do some research on the potential moratorium or any of that? Okay,
I mean, I would like to have a little idea as to where you guys are. You say just discussion, I don't know what that means. Discussion, just tossing it around or thinking about it, or
Well,
geared towards you know, having something in place in a relatively short amount of time.
I guess pending legal and stuff, I would say we could have something in place yet this year.
Yeah, I'll do some research on that and bring that to, what are you thinking, next Tuesday? Is that,
If you can, that'd be great. Okay, do you have anything else, Doug?
I do not.
I had a quick question for you. Did you happen to have a chance to look at that, culvert from the road ditch into the drainage ditch down in the prairie?
I did, and I wrote up a work order, and I think Scott's planning
Okay,
on, getting that repaired this week.
okay, perfect, thanks.
Perfect, anything else for Doug from the board?
Well, when Boone comes in, we'll get this other, Gold Eagle to take care of it. Just invited him up, so if the board had any questions about it, they would be, they would answer it.
They went through the zoning permit and everything.
Well, it's really nothing to do with zoning, it's a state permit that needs to be applied for, however, it does need to be approved by the board of supervisors.
Yeah.
So,
Doug, on the open positions we have, is it just 2 mechanics yet, or
That's
what
correct.
position? Okay, have we had any resignations?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
Are you hearing something?
no, I was just asking.
Okay.
Um,
I've heard, you had a resignation, didn't you, Todd? And I heard that a deputy sheriff, whether that's true or not, I really don't know.
that I don't know, but I know in my office I have one.
Okay, well, thanks, and we can go back to the, dog ordinance discussion here for Todd.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
I'm just gonna.
Was it, Hancock County, we had the other ordinance from, would you be able to put that in format for
Yeah,
us and stuff?
With everything else that has been going on, that was kind of put on the back burner. There is a law that is at least somewhat protective of, for, you know, dogs on the loose. But I have Hancock, I have another one too, Roger had sent to me. And so the plan was and still is that Roger and I get together to, I'll put something together and send it to Roger, make sure it's something that's capable of being done, because there will be the deputies that'll be needing to enforce that.
Yep,
Because there's a city ordinance that the city police officers will be, that they're responsible for, but, the question I have is, you know, are we going to have to build a pound? Where are we gonna store these? It's probably something, you know, I direct to Roger, but,
I heard through the grapevine that the city got the property of the old auction site down south.
yeah, they
And that
did.
they might be able to use one of those buildings for a pound.
Oh, okay, well,
That's,
yeah, and have kind of a shared
that's 100%
responsibility.
accurate.
I know.
The only thing I read was in the paper, and that was they're gonna make it into a park and
Yeah.
that, so I don't know.
I think that's
Parks
Parks
and
and
dogs
Rec.
may-
Yeah.
I don't know if
Detract
that'll
from
be
that, you know,
found.
so.
Yeah,
I just heard a rumor that they said that there's enough buildings there, so I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't know what their intent is, but, you know, that's obviously going to be, an issue that needs to be addressed, because, once they have the authority to start, you know, grabbing these, they already have the authority, but it's just whether or not, you know, it's something that they come upon or catch, or, you know, we're gonna have to have, someone who's trained in catching these dogs,
What?
you know, someone who's vaccinated for rabies, I don't know, you know,
You gotta give them the ability to fine them.
yeah.
We don't have that now.
Right.
Yeah, writing warnings and fines and having record of that,
Right.
at least that would probably solve most of it.
That's what I would think, if they got 2 or 3 nominal fines, that they would do something.
You'd like to think.
Yeah.
You'd hope.
I deal enough in that area that
Might not.
it just adds up, that's all it does. But no, I agree, you know, all kidding aside, I think that's something that will provide at least an avenue for the deputies to assist people out there who are having troubles with stray dogs.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, but it does exist, so.
Well, same thing, we had issues with cattle on the road. And then
Still
more
do.
issues with cattle on the road, and we didn't have any ability to do anything.
Yeah. You know, like I said, the laws are pretty generic, that are on the books from state laws. You know, they have the ability to shoot an untagged dog. But, you know, dogs are pretty precious and at least in most people's mindset. You know, we had a neighboring state governor who is getting some heat for some things written in the book, but yeah. So, but no, I agree. I think that at least gives us an avenue, and I obviously fond of dogs myself, but you know, given the ability to fine as opposed to, you know, taking more drastic measures might be appropriate.
Okay,
Any ideas on a time frame?
Yeah, I have those. I don't know if Roger's here or if he went also out to Washington DC, but
he was here earlier.
He's here earlier.
Yeah.
Also, he is here.
Yeah.
So I'll get with him this week and see if we can. I'd say maybe 2 weeks, since I'm going to be doing basically some research on the moratoriums. We can look at maybe the end of May, somewhere around there. Roger and I will get together whenever we feel that we have something presentable. We'll send it out to you by email and then put ourselves on the agenda.
Okay, that'll work.
Sound good?
Perfect. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Alright, we can go back to the anhydrous ammonia storage agenda item. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Boone Morgan, from Gold Eagle. Gold Eagle, they've submitted an application for approval of ammonia storage at their existing yard up in Titanca, which is right to the east of town. I included with your, in your folder, the application, an aerial photograph, and also the plans that they have. Part of the application process is that the local government, the county, the people that have jurisdiction, it needs to be on public notification, which is the agenda is fine, and it needs to have approval from the Board of Supervisors. So I'm here, I guess I asked Boone to attend just in case the board would have some questions. It's being run right now as a storage. This will, for lack of a better term, it will increase a little bit of the capacity and also make some improvements on how your operation will run. Is that correct?
You bet, yep. Just looking to continue to enhance the level of service for our member owners, member producers in the area, so in the Titanca area and beyond.
It almost does.
Yeah,
Looks like it
yeah.
almost triples.
It almost triples, yeah, so we have 109, 110 ton of storage there, we'll be adding 300 to it, so. With the other sites already permitted, we'll leave that in operation, and so we'll essentially have 2 facilities. Sometimes that anhydrous ammonia season is really condensed and really heated, you know, it's intense, and you have one plant go down, sometimes it really handcuffs you. So while the initial one is still being able to be state certified and state approved, we'll keep it in place and operate both. So.
Okay.
So I did prepare a resolution for the board, and this would go along to Boone so that we could forward this onto the state of Iowa, but it reads, whereas Gold Eagle Cooperative, Gold Eagle in parentheses, 515 North Locust, Goldfield, Iowa, 50542 currently operates an anhydrous ammonia storage facility at 2201 325 Street in Kossuth County. Said location being parcel 16-10-100-003, and whereas Gold Eagle has plans to make improvements to its location by increasing the capacity and location of bulk tanks, and in parentheses, I call that proposal. And whereas Gold Eagle is required to and has applied to the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship, IDALS, for permission to complete the proposal at the location. And whereas the IDALS application requires the local jurisdiction to approve the proposal, and whereas proper public notice for the Kossuth County Board of Supervisors May 14, 2024 agenda is complete, and whereas consideration of the proposal was accomplished in the aforementioned May 14, 2024 meeting of the Kossuth County Board of Supervisors, now therefore be it resolved by the Kossuth County Board of Supervisors to approve the Gold Eagle Cooperative's plans and proposal to modify and update its anhydrous ammonia storage facility located at 2201 325 Street in Kossuth County.
Doug, I think you already spoke to it, but I guess on the public notice side of things, is it just the agenda notice that's required, or is anything in the
Visited with
newspaper?
IDALS, and yes, just the,
Okay.
it is adequate for just to have the agenda published. They did not need a separate notice.
Okay,
That was a question.
Yep.
I talked with Boone, and then I went to IDALS, so
okay,
that question was answered. So it is proper.
okay. Any other questions from the board?
This one holds 45,000?
They're 45,000 gallon tanks, so 300 ton, yep. And our current facility was 110 ton, so, yep.
You're not looking to enlarge the property, you're just using the same property and just improving?
Within it, what we currently own right now in that same property, yep.
So the reason for using 3 tanks is transportation, or?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I was figured that's what it was.
Yeah, the more you can hold ahead of time and get ahead, the better, yep.
Probably take some of the burden off of the spring and fall rush.
Right, yep.
So you can sell it cheaper.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Right,
In full transparency, and granted, this is a little ways out too. We're really hoping this could be a phase 1, add a couple more tanks down the road, even in that same spot, if we could add. We're putting it in a spot where we can maybe add 1 or 2 if we find out that we have plenty of room there, and if we find out that from a growth standpoint that it enhances our service even more, there's room there. So we're putting it in a spot that doesn't pigeonhole us to just have the 3. So
you're gonna have separate plumbing.
correct. Yeah, and this is all state inspected, of course, but rather than any underground, just from a safety perspective, this is trenched. So any of the pipes coming from the bullets to the risers they're in a trench that's exposed to. So we're getting, there are some older facilities that have the in-ground stuff, and we're getting away from that. The newer facilities that are with emergency shutoffs and all the necessary safety precautions from the state. So, and brand new 45,000 gallon tanks. Now, not to say brand new doesn't break down or have issues, but it's not like we're moving some old tanks and putting them in place and hoping that in moving them there that there wasn't any damage to them. These are brand new tanks.
yeah. Well, I'd entertain a motion if there's
I'll move to approve the application.
There's
It's a resolution.
resolution, and that is 05142401 for the number. And that's your motion there, Roger?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. You take Jack. Any discussion?
How soon?
Hopefully this summer, here in June, July, we can get going on the piers, and sometimes they come in and pour the piers, so then they can set in place for a while, without having the tanks on them, but operation, this fall hopefully, so, we're operating in full this fall, so, fingers crossed. So,
Sounds good.
Yep.
Roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Stecker.
Yes. Motion carried unanimous. We will get this signed.
And I just get a sheet.
Remind me to,
It will.
get that,
It's not right now. 'cause it's
email
still-
to you, Tammy.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
If I don't get it to you
I'll send
this
you an
afternoon,
email.
just send me an email.
I
I'll
will.
try and remember. I know I got a couple things going already down there.
Those dang guys.
I'll send you an email.
No, I'll try to remember.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, it's gotta get cheaper, corn got cheaper, it should follow.
Yeah, and it's amazing the excuses that they have as to why it follows corn, right?
But it follows the corn market.
100%,
Yes.
100%.
I
But,
don't
yeah.
believe a lot of it,
What's that?
I don't believe a lot of what you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you guys, appreciate it very much.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, you bet. Thank you.
Alright.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and we got drainage and all that done, so I think we're up to the auditor.
Okay, so, next week we have the budget amendment hearing at 8:30. So far, that's about it, except for our regular stuff that we have scheduled. So that's it for next Tuesday. I do have a bill that Carissa gave me, it's from Dump It for the emergency management building out on Phillips. She says, cause it's a county building, it needs to be paid for by county and not out of her department, so I'm wondering where you want me to take this out of.
How much is it?
$62, but it'll be a monthly.
Oh, 62 a month? Okay.
Do we need a dumpster out there?
That's a good question, I have no idea.
I mean, how much garbage do you go through out there?
That would be a question for her.
It's not like there's an office there,
No.
so maybe a few bags a month, maybe, or not even that.
Maybe they can be brought up here
Throw in the back of a pickup and put in this dumpster. I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah, I don't know.
for $60 a month. I think we don't need it.
That's good.
I would,
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know how much garbage they actually go through up there.
What's that Rogers too? Does he have garbage out?
They
there? I
store
don't
a
know.
few things.
they have stuff on the other side of the
But
railroad
it's not-
tracks, but
Yeah,
It's not like they'll be
that's all
out there
fenced
throwing
off.
things
They're,
away.
they're not gonna walk across the
This is
railroad
all on the other side.
by
My
the,
question, I
yeah.
guess.
yeah, in our parking lot. Oh,
My question is, are we paying for other people throwing their garbage into our dumpster?
well, and I think we probably are, and I think we need to have a conversation about the usage of that building, because I've heard about things being posted in there that I don't think have ever been brought to the board's attention with other businesses and stuff like that, so maybe we just need to have a conversation about that building in general.
Yeah.
Next week. And then we can deal with the dump it bill and all that at the same time.
You're gonna talk about the parking lot too, somebody made a big circle and hit the building. What?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up yet here in our discussion.
I don't know that what we should do, but maybe we should have a discussion on,
Well, there's an accident there, it was reported through the police, it'll be taken care of. I don't think there's a big issue we gotta deal with there, having the parking lot closed off isn't gonna change that.
Yeah, you're not gonna stop people from going in there in the evening and messing around unless you put up barricades, but if you put up barricades, then that kind of defeats the purpose.
I wanna say, was it, how many years ago, somebody swerved off 169 and ran into the building too, I mean, that's happened.
Yeah. I guess let's put that on the agenda for talking about that building next week. And then we can include that.
Well, let's do the 20th. Let's see, when's our claims, next claims,
Next week, probably.
yeah, but we have to process the claim before.
Yeah, do we have a miscellaneous line item?
Still have to pay that,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's there.
yeah,
Should that just come out of
I mean, it's been coming out
courthouse?
of emergency management budget, but
Yeah,
It has.
where does our dumpster come out of?
the courthouse expense probably.
I would probably tack it on to that.
but it's not at the
It's not a
courthouse,
courthouse
It's not
expense
for the
though.
courthouse, so that's,
so, no,
I guess I would just,
I mean,
could
we
it
could
still
do,
come out of emergency management for this month, let's have the discussion and then we can determine.
and make a change.
the only other thing is, under the supervisors, you guys have a building expense. I don't know if it's just fuel, I'll have to look at it, but
Sure,
to see what that allows.
because the board owns the building, yeah.
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 If you're gonna pay it, it has to come out of the supervisor's fund, if they don't pay it out of the,
Yeah,
that's your only,
option.
yeah.
Yeah, that would probably
Okay,
work for 1 month.
And
okay,
I don't think about it different.
The annex has its own
Yeah,
expense fund, doesn't it? So you can't put it, take it out of the annex building.
it's not,
Well, that comes out of supervisor.
it's,
No,
no,
it
that's
doesn't.
a whole
It's
separate
separate.
building, it'd be the
It's
same as,
separate.
Annex? Oh,
yeah, it'd be the
that's
same
what
as
it
the
is.
courthouse, it's not at, the
Yeah.
dumpster's not at the courthouse, so it doesn't make sense to
Well,
put it in there.
this dumpster's over there.
At our emergency
It's
response and
there.
training complex,
The old UBC building.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why we got to have it over there.
I don't think we need
Yeah, we're just
one.
making a receptacle for other people to throw their garbage in,
Can't
instead of going down the highway.
They, I mean,
People do.
Phil's in that building, right?
No.
No,
He's in the
No.
hospital.
hospital,
I'll do that there.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
got storage there. I think
there's some equipment stored there, but,
yeah, but
there's no offices in that building.
no,
okay, I'll take it out of the supervisor's building expense out there then for this month, and then I'll put that on the agenda. We got an application from the city of Wesley to have a special election, so we will be sending out a letter to them. The special election will be held September 10th, according to Iowa code. They're wanting to increase their mayor term from 2 years to 4 years. So that will be all that will be on the ballot. So we will have a special election September 10th. So we're also working on that. Absentee voting starts tomorrow. We also start our training for election workers tomorrow and Thursday. And then of course the election on June 4th. So we're right in the middle of getting ready for our election. So. And then that's all I have.
alright. Jack?
I've got a long meeting on Monday, very challenging. It starts at 8:30 in the morning. Goes through RFPs and finance and then regular board meetings, so we'll be in all morning. And we're already at 10:30.
I had a NIACOG meeting last night, so far for the year, we're doing all right, we're about 80,000 ahead. So, and most of the bills are all paid. Still have trouble with drivers getting enough. The state come in and said that we were doing 1 hour of comp time for 1 hour. And they say anybody under 50 with 56,000, they have to pay time and a half for comp time. So we're gonna have to change how we do comp time.
Okay.
We had a couple funding requests from the Bancroft and Burt that's been there for a while. And they got approved, for $4 million apiece to improve their infrastructure. The problem being is I don't know if it's gonna be funded totally enough to get the total amount to both cities, but it'll help both cities. Whatever the percentage is in the end. And nothing much else, man. Approved the budget and approved the audit.
Alright,
I got community action and care connections coming up. Otherwise, spent went over to Whitmore a few different times last week, over a few days with that water issue over there, and had Empire Pipe come in and they ran their jetter truck through multiple times. Cambered one end of the pipe, but the water's so full, yeah, you can't get it much, but they've made it through and it went down and it's still going down. The manhole was completely full, on that west end of town, and now it's down to just the pipe. So the pipe's full, but there's no excess flow, so that's good. And then once we get that once things dry out more, we need to have it cambered and figure out what's going on. But they were pulling out tree roots, they're bringing it back, so.
The jetter don't take out all the roots.
No,
Well,
but it was pulling out little clumps of things, and city just took out several large ash trees right by the road, and I'm sure, and that's where we're having some of those issues with the roots and stuff, so. I imagine we'll have to do something there later this year.
Have to put new pipe in the end, so you don't have roots getting in it.
So, yeah, but we'll camera it and address it then.
yep. Anything else? Already talked about the water by, Lakota on 90. CIJDC Executive Committee meeting tomorrow. And at a NACO meeting yesterday, they were talking about the Farm Bill progress and basically the House and Senate leadership have each released their plans in some form. I think the Senate side was like a 90-some page kind of outline, and I think the House side was shorter, but I think that actually had a timeline on it later here in May, to have stuff discussed through committees, so sounds like they're starting to make some progress on that. They talked about some of our NACO priorities for counties and stuff that were incorporated in there, some that were not, but, I guess in general, good progress. I think they're talking about, I think both proposals had the subsidy level brought up to 80%, and then the max for one was 88%, and the other was 90% for insurance protection for like price levels. So there would be some somewhat significant changes in crop insurance with either proposal, but we'll see which one shakes out here, so. If you guys got any questions on that or whatever, I can get more resources from Owen, but other than that, I think we've covered everything else already, so. Anything else from the board? Alright, I would entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.